We are live right now from the News Channel 5 Forecast Center. I'm Mark Johnson along with Jason Nicholas and Trent McGill. It is the Power of 5 Tornado Survival Guide, and I know today's high was 27 degrees. It felt nothing like spring, but spring is coming. Severe weather season is right around the corner. I mean, we're talking days or weeks away, so this is very important that we're here tonight. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, jam-packed half hour here. So, again, watch. You can tweet with us. We'll talk about that later, too. We're going to talk to storm chasers, what they go through during severe weather season.
You shouldn't do it.
And if you see a storm, you can maybe take a look at the cloud formations and let us know what you can expect. And, of course, send us your photos as well. So we've got all that. And, of course, at the end, we're going to do our severe weather forecast for the spring.
You won't want to miss that.
We're going to dive into just about all of it. And it's 100% interactive. We want to see you on Twitter. We want to see you on Facebook. We're live right here on News Channel 5. We're also streaming live on NewsNet 5. We're on our News Channel 5 app. We're on your
mobile
tablets, everything.
Now, how can they connect with us?
Hashtag OHTornado. We're going to make it trend here in Northeast Ohio on Twitter. So
and we're monitoring our severe weather chat page. You can go there right now, watch us, and chat with us, ask us questions. But first, let's talk about a very active tornado season from last year to get you ready for this year. Take it away. This may look like a storm chase from Tornado Alley, but it's not. This is last year, Wayne County, Ohio. The afternoon of August 7th, startled commuters see this tornado racing along Route 30 toward Orrville.
It's hitting ground, look. Oh my gosh.
It chewed up mainly farmland, but one house was not so lucky. Pieces of the roof were hurled a half a mile down the road.
Debris in there. Stuff flying?
Oh my God.
Ohio averages 16 tornadoes per year, and even though the United States overall saw fewer tornadoes through last year, Ohio had nearly 24, above normal, including 7 right here in the northeast corner.
And the wind came up pretty strong, and then we looked out our kitchen window toward the back of our property, and we saw 5 trees go down.
Most tornadoes occur between 2 and 7 p.m. when the sun's heat is at its maximum, but that's not always the case. Just ask the folks at Ursuline College in Pepper Pike. On July 20th, a tornado packing winds of 110 miles per hour dropped down at 3:35 in the morning, damaging parts of the gym and several other buildings. Luckily, no students or faculty were injured.
It came through the woods here to our left, went over, hit the building, and then went all the way down through the side of the lake, and we've lost a lot of trees.
Most tornadoes in Ohio occur during the months of June and July, just as tornado season is settling down in the Plain States. First responders are always on the lookout for severe weather during these months here in Ohio. But what happens when they're the ones under the severe weather attack? On July 10th, a tornado packing winds of over 100 miles per hour demolished Mineral City's fire department. All these Tuscarawas County first responders could do was watch as their home base was completely destroyed by the twister.
We got into the dining hall and the roof just lifted up. I was hunkered in the doorway trying to hold myself down. It wasn't very long, it was over.
Okay, right now live on NewsNet5.com, Mark and Trent are answering questions. We just had one about the Cleveland split.
What causes the Cleveland split? So I'm answering that right now on our
NewsNet5.com. Okay,
severe storm
now storm chasing has really been kind of all the rage. We've all done that here in the weather office. And our morning meteorologist, Tara Blake, she works on Good Morning Cleveland. She's at home sleeping because she's got to be up in the middle of the night, basically. She sat down with a storm chaser to talk about the dangers of chasing and what they look for.
Okay, Michael, let's get started first with, how do you define a chaser?
Oh, that's a good question. Basically, anybody that goes out to either just witness storms, report back what the storms are doing. I got my start in chasing with Valparaiso University with their Storm Intercept team, and the first time I went out chasing was in the spring of 2005.
Wow. So why do you continue to chase so many years after that beginning?
Well, there is a fascination with severe weather. There's something about going out and witnessing Mother Nature, and sometimes, unfortunately, at her worst. But there is a fascination to witness it, to learn from it, and just to be, in a sense, how do I want to word it? In a sense, basically, just to kind of witness the power that Mother Nature has.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful, it's scary, it's dangerous. So why is chasing so important, Michael?
Well, there's only so much that you can see when looking at Doppler radar, you know, as the radar goes out in a distance, it actually gets higher into the atmosphere due to the curvature of the Earth. So you need people to report what the storm is doing at ground level so you actually know what is going on.
You know, you've picked a storm, you have your eyes on it, and now even you, someone that's a professional chaser, gets scared. I want to know about your scariest chase.
There's two that come to mind, and one was April 13th of 2012, and we were in Cooperton, Oklahoma, and I made a mistake in doing what I did. I drove a little too close to a rain-wrapped circulation, and at the time the storm was not tornado warned. We had just pulled off on the side of the road, and a tornado literally formed right in front of us, and we had to back up to get out of the way. And after everything finally settled down, my heart was pounding. I was so nervous.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, that leads me to a very important question for all us Ohioans out here. Why should we leave chasing to the professionals?
It's very dangerous. Even myself, I consider myself relatively a smart and safe chaser, but even I've gotten myself in dangerous situations. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what to look for, I mean, it can be very dangerous and if not deadly. I would certainly just basically, you know, leave it to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us. It's certainly going to make a difference in this wild and wacky world of weather that we're living in, and chase season's almost here, so I'm sure you're ramping up.
We are getting there. Yes, we are.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Tara.
Great information right there. Great footage also. And we're not done. We're going to take a quick break right here. But coming up after the break, we're going to talk about safety tips. We're going to talk about diving into those storms. Completely interactive. Don't forget Twitter, Facebook,
Hashtag OH Tornado.
Hashtag OH Tornado. We'll be right back.
All right, one of my favorite segments coming up right now. Welcome back, by the way, to our severe weather special. We call it the Power of 5 Tornado Survival Guide. We get to Skype with you, our viewers and friends, via Facebook and Twitter. You have expressed an interest in weather, and now we're going to put some of you on the air. So here we have Jim Martin. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Not too bad.
All right, where you from, Jim?
Findlay.
Findlay, Ohio. A lot of flooding problems out there, a lot of severe weather as well. What's your question?
Derechos, like, how common are they here in this part of Ohio?
Very. A derecho is defined as a squall line of thunderstorms that lingers for a good 6 hours as it travels from state to state. So we have seen several of those over the past few years. And I think, again, I'd say 1 to maybe 2 per summer on average. Thanks, Jim, very much.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have Katie from Cleveland. Oh, looks like you got a little guy there. What's his name?
His name is Jack.
And Jack is probably a future meteorologist. All right, what is your weather question today?
My middle son, his first grade class, Miss Larson from Riverside School here in Cleveland, they want to know if there will be any more snow because they're tired of the snow and they want to get outside and play.
Well, unfortunately, Katie, even though we're thinking spring and it is officially spring on the calendar, our computer models say that spring will be slow to gain hold here. So it looks like we've got more cold coming in. In fact, next week, some of our computers print out a couple of inches of snow across northern Ohio. I bet that doesn't make you feel good, or the kids, does it?
I guess a few more indoor recesses.
Yeah, indoor recesses, and who knows, maybe another snow day. All right, thank you very much, Katie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Up next is Ashley. Ashley, where are you from?
Elyria.
Elyria, great. What's your question?
I have a question about snow rollers. I've been seeing a lot of people on Facebook posting pictures of their snow rollers, and I was just wondering how those are formed.
All right, great question. We have seen a lot of those. All right, you need snow on the ground. Okay, that's number one. Number two is you need a few hours of temperatures above freezing, like 34, 35 degrees. That melts a very thin layer at the top of the snowpack, all right? Third thing you need is some high winds right after and a rapid temperature drop. As the high winds see a weakness in that snow, and it just picks it up, and the melted layer rolls like that, and then it freezes into a little ho-ho, or, yeah, I'm thinking hostess ho-ho. What do you think, Ashley?
Sounds like it.
All right, great. Thanks very much for calling
Thank you.
in. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
You
and I want to thank everybody for calling in today and Skyping with us. Of course, you can stay connected with us always on Facebook and Twitter and on newsnet5.com. We'll be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back to our Power of 5 Tornado Survival Guide. We've journeyed over to the chroma key set where we talk in front of the radar picture. We want to visit one of the major severe weather events of the last 20 years, November 10th, 2002. Almost forgot. Where were you on November 10th?
I was working at the ABC station in Charleston, West Virginia.
I don't even want to know where you were.
Probably doing homework.
Oh, my God.
You were right here.
I was right here during the event. 12 tornadoes touched down in the News Channel 5 viewing area. That was the Van Wert tornado, which was outside the viewing area. Let's talk a little bit about it. We're going to demonstrate our technology here using this event from November 10th, 2002. Yeah, it's you know, you see a lot of colors on the screen. We need to do more for you than just show you where the rain and the thunderstorms are. So with the Power of 5, we can actually look inside the thunderstorm. A couple of things I want you to notice here. Most tornadoes occur here in northern Ohio during supercell squall line mergers. Here's the squall line, a line of storms. Here's the supercell, an individual cell, very strong, rotating, wants to produce a tornado, but is not. This is Tiffin right here. All right, storm's headed right toward Tiffin. It does, a few minutes later, produce a tornado. So what happened? Well, here's the wind from the squall line. It's going to bump into the circulation, this little part of the storm that's spinning. It's going to bump into that, add some wind speed to it, and that's when the tornado is produced. Boom, right here, tornado on the ground, an EF3, high-end EF3, did a lot of damage in the city of Tiffin, also destroyed a farmhouse, completely wiped it off the map in the city of Republic, and there is our signature of the tornado as it is traveling northeast, doing a lot of damage. All right, Jason, you're up.
Okay, a couple more, Mark. We did have several tornadoes that day across the News Channel 5 viewing area. Let's take a look at a couple of these that we've been looking at. Okay, from Mansfield up towards Medina, we did have potential there for some tornadoes, and a couple here. The first one, this one near Ashland. Notice our circles. That indicates we have low-level locks on rotation at different parts of the atmosphere, potentially here for a tornado. And you always hear us say the word hook echo. This is what we're talking about, that little almost appendage there to the southwestern part of the storm. Up towards Savannah is heavy rain and even some hail when you see those brighter colors like the violets and the purples. Now up here into Homerville, this was a confirmed F2 tornado, did some damage to homes up there as well. Again, there's your little hook, typically on the southwestern side of the storm. Not in the middle of the storm, but typically on the end. We have something called our Barron's button too. We use that to show you how much hail could be in the storm, how big the hail could be. It also tells us where the shear, the spin is, and right there, you can bet that's where the tornado was back in 2002. And again, we spin the radar on our side, we again see our rotation markers there. This is bearing down on Ashland. At that point, it did not produce a tornado yet. There's hail there, and there's your spin near Ashland. It did, though, eventually drop down a tornado near Congress in Wayne County, doing considerable damage. So what an afternoon that was. Trent.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, definitely not done. Once you get this whole line, we were talking about that, this whole line, this squall line rolling through. You see this bow, kind of like a bow and arrow? That's how it gets its name. What you're getting is winds on the backside of that blasting through. And there's some incredibly strong winds out in that, plus the threat for tornadoes embedded in that line. That's exactly what we got through Port Clinton. We had an EF2 tornado roll through Port Clinton, severely damaged about 24 homes and several apartments rolled through. We're zooming back into the storm. Jason was telling us about
there it is, bullseye. There's no doubt.
Right there, no doubt. We have rotation on the ground. We have our circulation as well. And as we go to the next scan, that is clearly a tornado on the ground. The surveyors went out the day after and actually gave it that EF2 rating. But watching this guy go through, I mean, that is just treacherous to see that actually roll through Port Clinton.
Luckily, nobody was killed in that one. Yeah.
Just incredible. In addition to those thunderstorms and tornadoes like that, we get winds that still gust. Like I was talking about with the Bow Echo, this is proof. Winds 60 miles per hour, gusting even higher.
Too.
These are your straight line winds right there that are blowing through with that Bow Echo. So tornadoes, squall lines, Bow Echoes, we're on top of it all. Let's go back to the Weather Center.
Hope you got your homework done.
Got it done. That's why I'm here.
I'm glad you got an A, too, I trust.
Yeah, great student.
Great student. Yeah, and see, major severe weather events, tornado outbreaks do happen here in northern Ohio. And you guys see a lot of cloud pictures, and you send them to us via 5pics at newsnet5.com.
Yeah, they're great. So here's a little storm spotter training. Let's start with Good Morning Cleveland meteorologist Tara Blake.
We're looking at the base of a thunderstorm now and watching for some rotation. You're seeing some scud clouds here. Now, scud is clouds that have broken off the base of the thunderstorm. And what happens is that scud is a good indication of circulation, where we're going to see that center. Circulation is happening. You're seeing those clouds getting sucked in. Quite incredible. If you just want to focus in real close here, scud is often mistaken for a tornado or a funnel cloud. That's not yet in place, though the likelihood for it to happen is there as there is circulation. We're going to watch to see if a wall cloud does indeed form. There we go. Same storm, quite a bit darker. Now, this actual storm does not produce a tornado, but we know this is a high-risk day.
Storm spotter training it's a crash course right now. So Trent's up next. You've got a shelf.
Let's get in right here.
Okay.
Take a look at this video right here. First off, I want to mention this is a massive storm going about 10 miles per hour. Jeff Lamonti, a buddy of mine, actually got this video. And whenever we can see the grass on here, you'll notice that it's blowing in toward the storm. So you have your inflow right here going toward the storm. We know when we get these shelf clouds that on the leading edge of this storm, there is massive winds, straight line winds coming straight out the front of that. So we can really see that on the radar. That's one of the big things we look for.
Right, that's right. And anytime you see one of these things, we want to see them. 5pics at newsnet5.com. Right. A shelf cloud means we have straight line wind damage. Now let's talk about a commonly mistaken for a tornado phenomena. This is a rain shaft. This is heavy rain and hail falling down from the clouds. But if you look at it, you're going, holy cow, that could be a tornado. We get a lot of these pictures sent in by you. But again, rain shaft coming straight down. There's no rotation there. There's no wall cloud. So keep that in mind next time you see a rain shaft. Jason.
Okay, the final one is the rotation, of course. This is when we might have a tornado. What you want to look for, and this video will steady up a little bit, notice the base of the cloud. You want to look for some twisting, some actual rotation. When you see that, we know we're having some spin with this storm. Then, of course, the bottom is when the cloud or even the spin, the wind gets down to the surface and you have debris, what you see right there as it makes contact with the ground. So you have some condensation, some water vapor, as well as debris on the ground there. And that means you have a tornado. Again, we always want to look for the circulation, so still images not necessarily as helpful as video. Okay, the time has come. Coming up next, we'll take a look at what you can expect this spring as far as our severe weather outlook and, of course, those very important safety tips for you and your family. Our Power of 5 Tornado Survival Guide continues after this.
All right. You know what? Severe weather happens here all the time. It may be a tornado. It may be high damaging straight line winds or large hail. We want to differentiate between a watch and a warning. Jason, what's a watch?
A watch means severe weather could happen if we issue a severe thunderstorm watch, a tornado watch. Conditions are correct. Maybe later in the day that we could see severe weather.
Yeah, we have that atmosphere primed. As far as warnings go, that means it's actually happening or will happen incredibly shortly. That means
incredibly shortly.
Very soon.
It's coming.
Yeah, absolutely coming. So you want to take your precautions as soon as there are warnings. If you're in a house, get to the lowest level you can. Try to stay away from windows, crouch down, cover your neck and your head. Remember those tornado drills we used to always do in school?
Yep.
It was a while ago, Mark, when we were in school. But you cover your head and your neck and you get in that position.
All right, some new research, Jason, in the car. We used to say get out of the car, but Kent State University researchers found something different.
Stay in the car. You want to get down, cover your head. You want to try to avoid the windows if you can. Maybe if you have blankets in the car, cover those or put those over your head too to eliminate any type of flying debris, right?
Right, you want to stay below that window line if you can.
Yeah, northeast corner of your home is the safest. Remember, tornadoes approach you from basically from the west or southwest. Most of the time.
Many walls between you and the storm.
So as many walls between you and the storm, so the northeast corner of the home is safest. If you're in an apartment, stairwells or interior rooms away from the exterior walls.
Right.
Best place to be.
Away from windows, if at all possible.
Should we do it? How about our
Are you ready?
Right?
Are you ready for the spring forecast? It's been a tough winter, and it seems like a winter that won't end. So let's get right to it. Here's your spring forecast, folks. We have a cool Great Lakes. It is is still 90% ice covered all around the Great Lakes. We also have a cool Gulf of Mexico, and we're going to get an El Nino forming later on this spring. Those factors point to below normal temperatures March, April, May into early June.
And that doesn't mean we're not going to get those warm temperatures just as a whole.
Warmth is coming back, but you're not going to see 80s and 90s very often here coming up. All right, next up, precip. Jason?
Above average rainfall as we head through the springtime. A lot goes into that, Mark.
A lot goes into that. Again, on El Nino coming on, plus the cooler lakes may keep some of the severe weather to the south, but here is your severe weather outlook. Jason?
Okay, right now it looks like because of the cold air that we have right now positioned over the Great Lakes and how cold the Gulf of Mexico is.
Yep, not as much moisture.
Right, we expect our severe weather season to be a little bit later than normal and peaking in the summer, right?
Right, not quite as much energy early, but we'll get that late summer, you know, severe weather energy, absolutely. And what's this early all or nothing?
Listen, I don't want to say that we're not going to see severe weather at all in April, May, or June. It's going to take a very strong low pressure system to clear out some of this cold air over the Great Lakes. And unfortunately, a very strong low pressure system could mean a repeat of May 31st, 1985 or April 3rd and 4th, 1974. It's going to take an extremely strong low pressure to get the warmth all the way up here. And if that does happen, there could be 1 or 2 major severe weather outbreaks around the lower Great Lakes.
And don't forget, we have our Storm Shield app up and running. $2.99. The sale starts
tomorrow.
Normally $4.99, starts tomorrow, and this is why you need it.
This is why you need it. Everybody needs a weather radio. Right. Well, this was $49.99 at a local box store. I saw it yesterday, and guess what? Ours is much cheaper, an app for your phone.
$2.99.
And you can program it for 5 different places.
5 different locations.
Work, school, home.
Thanks for joining us today. Tornado Survival Guide. We're live on Twitter and Facebook. Keep joining us online.